Hi, here we are for day 3. I'm Tracy. If you're just joining me and haven't heard any of the previous days of this, we're talking this week about what to do, different things you can do if you lose access to your kids or if that's already a reality for you. So these are some tips that I've put together that I've collected from my own story, from things that my husband did, things that I did, and things that I've learned from other dads who went through this and were successful of um, reuniting with their kids, getting access and visitation back. So on day 1, we talked about how important it is not to give up. And I want you to remember how many games you've watched, whether it's football, soccer, basketball, hockey, whatever, games that are won in overtime, that are close until the end, or games where one team is getting pummeled until the end. And then, then they win it on a Hail Mary. They win it at the buzzer. They win it with a field goal. They win it in overtime. It happens, right? And we cheer for those kind of situations. But the guys or the women who are like on the losing team through the whole game, they don't know how it's going to turn out. Nobody knows, but they keep going. And nobody can ever win in those kind of exciting overtime situations unless they stay in it. And so if you stop before the end, it just means it's not the end yet. You're allowed to take a rest, but don't tell yourself a story about how you have to give up because it's hopeless. On day 2, we talked about using the postal service to your best advantage, how to use registered mail, how to archive the contents of things that you send. Today, I'm going to talk about showing up to whatever activities you can on behalf of your child, to support your child. And I'm assuming now that there's not a kind of restraining order in place, something that legally keeps you away from your child or from their mom. But in regular circumstances that don't involve that kind of thing, you can show up to practices, to games, like sporting events. You can show up to performances and different kind of shows that your child might be involved in, school events that are happening, award ceremonies, anything like that, through like maybe, scouts or Girl Guides or martial arts, things like that, where there are ceremonies happening, worship events, church related, or whatever your worship community is, events that are happening in that community. So I want to encourage you to take the mindset where you own it. You're not there to piss anybody off. You're not going to be belligerent. You're not harassing anyone. You don't want to come across as a stalker. My feeling is to say, like, wouldn't it be nice if you could just own it and walk in and be friendly and confident and shake hands with people there and look them in the eye? Because you're not so much asserting your right to be there as engaging with your responsibility to be there as a parent. You are doing parenting. You continue to be the parent of this child, no matter what kind of conflict is happening between you and their mom. So, don't think about it as your right. Think about it as your responsibility to your child. And I want to make sure that everybody listens. This week's podcast is with my guest, Johnny Jensen, who has a podcast called Team Super Dad, and you can totally find him at teamsuperdad.com. And I love the work that he's doing there. But in his interview with me, he said something that I thought was super interesting. He said that, it's on us to start educating people to not be taking sides, to not be enabling an alienating parent. And I think that it's really true. He said in a bygone era, people thought it was okay to whistle at a woman walking by or to slap the waitress in the ass or something, and those things aren't done anymore. And it would be really nice if, if this movement started in society, that it's not okay to allow your friends to treat their ex badly when it comes to allowing access of the child. If you know somebody who's divorced and that they are, like committed to grinding that person down and to keeping them away from your kids, it's time that people started knowing that they could say, that's not okay. Like, I'm not okay with that. I'm not going to participate in that with you. And so when you go to a school event and you shake the teacher's hand and smile at them and just stand in it, stand in your right to be there, and allow them to honor you, your commitment to your child, that you can, walk up to the church and shake the pastor's hand, that you can, go and meet with your child's doctor. Those kind of things are super important for asserting your your rights and the way you're discharging your responsibilities. So you might be thinking right now, like, oh, I can't even imagine myself doing this. Like, what would everybody say about me? Because, I haven't been around for a while. Like, how do I do this now suddenly, start doing these things? Well, I want to say this is, we're talking about a child who you would walk through fire for that child. So who cares what anybody thinks? This is not as big a deal, probably, as you're making it. And there are a lot of techniques you can use to prepare yourself to do that, to increase your confidence. There are visualization exercises you can do. There's something that's known as future pacing from the world of neuro-linguistic programming. You can look that up online, future pacing, where you kind of put yourself into the future situation where it's already gone well. There's a technique I share sometimes with clients called emotional stress release, ESR, where we're visualizing the nervous, kind of the stressful situation, and then really visualizing the good ending, the happy ending. And it's pretty powerful. So there are a lot of ways to prepare you to be successful at that. And like, won't you feel fantastic when you have really asserted your place by your child's side when they are doing activities, and your child has a right to have their parents there watching. So that's it for today. If you would like some help to gain the kind of confidence that you need to step in this way, just send me a message. I'd be happy to chat about this. Okay? So I'll see you tomorrow and Friday with some more tips. And don't be afraid to put your questions and comments in under the video, and I'll totally get to them. Thanks for watching.